The Great Pumpkin Heist. Once upon a time, in the town of Spooksville, the air turned crisp and the leaves turned gold. The townsfolk were busy preparing for the annual pumpkin parade, where the biggest, brightest pumpkin would be crowned the king of Halloween. Everyone was excited, especially Timmy Toad, who had a grand plan to win the crown. Timmy was no ordinary toad, he was a mastermind. With his trusty sidekick, Betty Bat, they set out to find the biggest pumpkin in the spooky woods. As they hopped and fluttered, they came across a gigantic pumpkin, so big it looked like a fluffy orange cloud. "This is it, Betty," Timmy exclaimed. "This pumpkin will make us the kings of Spooksville." But just as they were about to roll it away, they heard a voice. "Halt, intruders." It was Gary the Ghost, floating nearby with a spooky grin. "You can't just take my pumpkin." "Your pumpkin?" Timmy blinked, trying to keep a straight face. "You mean the pumpkin that's bigger than your entire ghostly self?" "Yes, I've been growing it all year," Gary replied, his translucent arms crossing over his ghostly chest. "And besides, I need it for my pumpkin ghost costume." "Costume? You're a ghost," Betty giggled. "What do you need a pumpkin for?" "To scare the wits out of the townsfolk, of course. Imagine their faces when they see a pumpkin ghost zooming through Spooksville." Gary's eyes twinkled with mischief. Timmy scratched his head. "Okay, how about this? We help you scare the townsfolk, and then we can use the pumpkin for the parade." Teamwork. Gary thought for a moment, then floated down with a smile. "Deal, but I get to wear the pumpkin on my head." As twilight settled, the trio set out to execute their master plan. Timmy hid behind a tree while Betty fluttered around the pumpkin, making eerie sounds. Gary floated up, wearing the pumpkin like a helmet, and yelled, "Boo!" The townsfolk screamed and ran, thinking it was a ghostly apparition. But then they realized it was just Gary being silly, and soon laughter filled the air instead of fear. After a night of hilarious scares, they finally returned to the pumpkin patch. "You know," Timmy said, "I think we've made quite a splash. How about we all join the parade together?" Gary's eyes lit up. "That's a fantastic idea. A ghost, a bat, and a toad. We'll be the spookiest trio in Spooksville." And so, the Great Pumpkin Heist turned into a Halloween adventure. The trio paraded through the streets, laughing and scaring just the right amount. That year, they won the crown for the best costume, but even better, they won the hearts of all Spooksville. From that day on, they were known as the Pumpkin Pals, the funniest, friendliest spooky crew in town. And every Halloween, they'd gather together, ready for more laughter and adventures, proving that sometimes the best scares come with a side of giggles.